Hi, in this video we are going to talk about factoring polynomials. This is already a review since this has been discussed in grade 8. Okay? And in grade 8 and in the first quarter or second quarter of grade 10. Alright, so we are going to talk about these different factoring techniques. So first we have the factoring polynomials with common monomial factor. Second, factoring difference of two squares. Next, we have the sum and difference of two cubes. Factoring general trinomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. And general trinomials wherein a is not 1. So we have the form ax squared plus bx plus c. And then lastly, we have the factor theorem and the rational root theorem. So itong limang ito, these have been discussed, or this was discussed during grade 8. Grade 8. Itong last, ito yung sa grade 10. Alright? So, itong mga factoring techniques na ito, yung 1 to 5, magagamit yan for degrees less than 3. So, pwedeng sa linear at saka ito siya sa linear and yung number 2 hanggang 5 sa quadratic. Okay, quadratic expressions. Right? And yung sa number 6 naman, for degrees higher than or greater than 2. So, start tayo when the degree is 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so let's start. Polynomials, factoring polynomials with common monomial factor. So, let's have example number 1. Notice here, we have 2ab plus 2ac minus 2a. Yung first step talaga in factoring polynomials, you really have to check if there is a common factor. Common factor. So, like this one, we have here, common niya yung 2a. Okay? 2a, 2a. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng terms na ito, pwede nating ma-divide sa 2a. Right? Pwedeng ma-divide sa 2a. So, this is equal to, yung common, lagay natin dito, 2a. And then, i-divide natin isa-isa yung terms by 2a. So, kung i-divide natin yan by 2a, ang maiiwan na lang si b. Alright. I-divide natin ito by 2a, ang maiiwan na lang si c. So, plus c. And then, ito i-divide natin kay 2a. Ayan. So, this would be 1. Alright? So, minus 1. So, eto yung factored form niya. Okay? Tandaan yan, when you factor polynomials, first step is to look for a common factor or common monomial factor before you proceed to another techniques kung meron pang pwedeng i-factor. Right? But in this case, this is already prime. Okay? Not factorable na ito. So, this is already the factored form. Another example, we have here x plus a minus b plus y times a minus b. Alright. So, notice this is the first term. Ayan. And this is the second term. Take note that we have a common factor which is a minus b and also a minus b. So, common sa kanilang dalawa yan. So, just like in number 1, ilalabas natin yung common. So, this becomes a minus b kasi yan yung common. Lagyan natin ng parentheses. Kasi isang group. And then, etong each term na ito, i-divide natin sa a minus b. So, ibig sabihin, i-divide natin ito by a minus b. Ayan. So, cancel out yan. Ang may iwan si x. Right. So, lagay natin dito x. And then, we have plus. Okay. Plus. Divide din natin ito kay a minus b. Kagaya nung sa kabila. Okay. Ang may iwan, y. So, plus y. So, this is now the factored form of that expression. Okay. And take note, pwede yang baliktad. Okay. Pwedeng x plus y times a minus b. Right? Pwedeng ganito ang form. Okay. Kasi pag nasanay ka na, kung titingnan mo ito, common itong dalawa. So, you can just write right away x plus y times yung common a minus b. So, ganito na siya. Okay? Next, we have difference of two squares. Difference of two squares. May kailangan tayong tandaan para ma-identify natin if that expression is a difference of two squares. Okay? Unang-una, dapat we have, let's say, a squared minus b squared. So, ito yung form ng difference of two squares. So, yung first term, okay, yung first term should be a square. Alam natin square siya, perfect square, kasi ma-extract natin yung square root niya. Alright? So, yung square root ng a squared is a. Alright? Yung b, yung second term naman niya, ay perfect square din. So, meaning ma-extract natin yung square root niya. So, perfect square. So, b squared, yung square root ng b squared is b. And dapat yung nasa gitna, yung operation, it should be minus because it's a difference. Okay, difference. When we have binomials like this one, difference of two squares, then pwede nang diretso natin i-factor. Okay, so dalawa yung factors niya. So, ano man yung square root ng first term, in this case a, and then plus, and then square root ng second term, and then ganun din dito sa kabila. Kaya lang, minus dito sa kabila. So, ito yung magiging form ng factor niya. So, diretso na ito, number 1. Square root ng 25. Let's determine muna kung difference of two squares ba ito. Yung 25 perfect square, okay? Square root ng 25 is 5. And yung x squared, ang square root niyan ay x. Yung minus yung operation, pasok, right? So, 81, perfect square din ng 81 kasi ang square root niya ay 9. So, in this case, dalawa ang factors niyan. So, we have square root of 25x squared, that's 5x. Yung isa plus, and then dito yung 5x na isa, and then minus yan dyan. Square root of 81 is 9. So, 9 dito, and then 9. So, eto na yung factored form niya. Ang dali lang, di ba? Next example tayo. So, we have 1 minus 16x to the power of 4. Take note, 1 is a perfect square. Kasi, square root ng 1 is 1. Alright? Square root ng 1 is 1. Square root niyan ay 1. Okay? And this is minus. Okay, so pasok ang operation. 16 is a perfect square, that's 4. Square root ng 16 ay 4. And x to the power of 4 is also a perfect square kasi ang square root niyan is x to the power of 2. Okay, so you can write this as yung square root ng, okay, dalawang terms, yung dalawang factors. So we have yung una, square root ng 1 ay 1. Okay, lagay natin yan, 1, 1. Yung isa plus, ang isa minus. Square root ng 16 ay 4. Square root ng x to the power of 4 ay x squared. Okay. So, ganun din dito. 4x squared. Alright? So, eto na sana yung factored form niya. Kaya lang, take note na etong 1 minus 4x squared ay difference of two squares pa rin. Okay? Difference of two squares pa rin. Kasi yung 1, square root niyan ay 1. Yung 4, square root ng 4 ay 2. Yung x squared, ang square root niyan ay x. Okay? So, difference of two squares pa rin ito. So, we still have to factor this. Di bali na ito kasi all the perfect square ang 1, perfect square ang 4x squared. However, plus sign. So, hindi na siya pwedeng ma-factor. So, yan na yan. But, we still have to write that. And then, we continue the other factor. So, ito naman, still difference of two squares. So, dalawang factor pa rin yan. Square root ng 1 ay 1, plus ang isa, and then 1 minus dito. Square root ng 4x squared, we have square root ng 4 ay 2, x squared ay x. So, 2x din yan. So, ito na ang factored form niya. Okay, so difference of two squares. This time, sum and difference of two cubes. Sum and difference of two cubes. So, review tayo. When we have a sum and difference of two cubes, iba yung sum, iba yung difference. Okay, two cubes. So, ibig sabihin, gaya niyan. Yung exponent ng variables natin ay 3, 6, 9, yung divisible by 3. Okay? And yung numerical coefficients natin ay may extract natin yung perfect cube root niya. Okay? So, this is in the form of a cube plus b cube. So, this is sum of 2 cubes. Right? Kung i-factor natin ito, magiging cube root ng A ay A. Cube root ng B, cube root ng A cube ay A. Cube root ng B cube ay B. Right? So, in factored form, A plus B, okay, plus, kasi plus naman yan. And then, the rest of the factor niya, yung isa pang factor ay trinomial. Okay, yung una, binomial. Yung pangalawa, trinomial. I-square ang A, so A squared. Dahil plus ito dito, minus ito dito sa kabila. And then, you multiply A and B, so that's AB. And then, plus yung square ng B, B squared. Ayan. So, ito yung factored form ng A cube plus B cube. Sum of 2 cubes. For difference of 2 cubes naman, let's say A cube minus B cube, pareho lang din, ano? Magkakaiba lang sa sign. So, dahil minus yan, yung first factor natin ay A minus B. And then, yung sa trinomial, pareho lang din, kaya lang yung minus sign sa gitna, magiging plus lahat. Okay? So, that's square ng A squared, plus yung product ng A and B, okay? Plus B squared. Ganyan lang yung format. Right? So, let's try this number 1. 8x cubed plus 2, 27. So, let's identify first if it's a sum, kasi sum ito, no? Sum of 2 cubes. So, yung 8, perfect cube siya kasi ang cube root ng 8 ay 2. X cubed, so x yan. Ang 27 naman, perfect cube kasi ang cube root niyan ay 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Okay? So, ang cube root ng 8x cubed ay 2x. Ang cube root ng 27 ay 3. So, meaning we have 8x cubed plus 27. This is equal to cube root 2x plus yan, kaya plus 3. Okay? And the remaining factors would be square ng 2x. So, that's 4x squared. Then, multiply yung dalawa. 2x times 3. That is 6x. And then, yung square ng 3. 3 times 3, that's 9. Okay? So, ito na yung factored form niya. Take note na itong trinomial dito, hindi mo na yan ma-factor. Okay? That's already prime. Non-factorable na itong trinomial dito. So, that's already the final factors of 8x cubed plus 27. Okay? Let's have another example for this. X cubed times x plus 2 minus x plus 2. Well, in this example, meron tayong common factor, which is x plus 2. So, extract muna natin yan. Remember, before we apply the different techniques, we really have to check first if there are common factors. Okay, first step dapat yan. So, magiging common factor ang x plus 2. So, ilabas natin yan. And, yung the rest, i-divide natin silang, yung lahat ng terms by x plus 2. Okay? Divide natin by x plus 2. So, cancel out yan. Ang naiwan si x cubed. Cancel ito. Ang naiwan, minus 1. Okay? Kasi x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 is 1. So, we have negative 1. Oops, we have here a difference of 2 cubes. Bakit? Kasi ang cube root ng x cube ay x, cube root ng 1 ay 1. So, this becomes, kopyahin yan, x plus 2. And then, yung, eto, difference of 2 cubes. So, cube root ng x cube ay x, and then minus, cube root ng 1 ay 1. And then, we have square ng x squared, and then multiply sila, negative x. And then, square ng negative 1 ay plus 1. And this is the factored form of that polynomial. Next, we have factoring general quadratic trinomials in the form x squared plus bx plus c. So let's have an example. X squared plus 8x plus 12. Let's factor this. Notice for this form, for this one, yung quadratic trinomials, at quadratic meaning the highest exponent of the variable is 2. Okay? And yung quadratic natin dito, yung leading coefficient niya, ito yung kasama nung x with the highest variable, ay 1 or wala. Meaning 1 yan. Okay? So, in this case, when we factor this, automatic, dalawang factors yan. Dalawang factors. And yung first term dito ay x. Okay, kung ano man yung variable na ginamit dyan. So, x din dito. Right? And yung remaining term ng factors, it depends on the factors here. So, maghahanap tayo ng factors ng 12 or yung ng value ng c. Okay? Maghahanap tayo ng factors ng c na kung i-add natin yung factors na yon ay magiging b. How is that? Example, yung 12. Maghahanap tayo ng factors ng 12 na kung i-add natin ay magiging 8. Ano ba yung factors ng 12? We can have 3 and 4. 3 times 4 is 12, but 3 plus 4 is 7. So, hindi pwede. Pwedeng 12 and 1. So, 12 times 1 is 12. Pero 12 plus 1 is 13. So, hindi pwede. Or 12 minus 1 is 11. So, hindi rin pwede. So, we have 6 and 2. Okay? 6 and 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay? 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay? So, therefore, we are looking for these factors. Ayan. It's positive 6 and positive 2. So, we can write here positive 6 and positive 2. And this is already the factored form of this expression. Next example. X squared minus 2x plus 8. So, quadratic trinomial. Alright? And yung x squared dito walang kasamang ibang number. So, 1 yung coefficient niya. Okay? 1. And so, we have factors nito. Diretso na. So, x dito. And then, nagsusulat ako ng ganyan, ano? Okay. Yung remaining na terms ng factors would depend on the factors of 8. So, let's look for factors of 8 na kung i-add or i-subtract, magiging negative 2. Negative 2 ang hanap natin. So, ano bang factors ng 8 na pwedeng negative 2 ang sagot? So, we have 4 and 2. Okay? 4 and 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay? But 4 plus 2 is 6. Hindi pwede. Well, we can have negative. Negative and then negative 2 din. Sana yan? Okay. Negative 4, negative 2. Alright? This one is positive 8, but kung i-add natin negative 4 and then negative 2, that's negative 6. So, hindi rin siya pwede. Other factors of 8 would be 8 and 1. Hindi pwede kasi 8 plus 1 is 9 or 8 minus 1 is 7. Hindi rin pwede. Okay? Therefore, walang factors ng 8 na pwedeng maging negative 2. And in that case, this would be, okay, this expression is prime. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya factorable. Hindi na siya factorable. Okay? Pero, halimbawa, hindi positive 8 yan. Halimbawa, x squared minus 2x minus 8. Okay. Now, in this case, maghahanap tayo ng factors ng negative 8. It would be example number 3. Right. So, factors ng negative 8 na kung i-add or i-subtract, magiging negative 2. Okay? So, x squared yan. So, factors would be x by x. Alright? Factors ng negative 8 would be 4 and 2 na pwedeng maging negative 2. Dapat negative yan. Negative yung isa. So, negative 4. Pwedeng negative 4 and 2. Pwedeng positive 4 tapos negative 2. Alin kaya sa dalawa ang magbibigay ng negative 2 na sum? So, we have negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. 4 Minus 2 is positive 2, so therefore we take this one. Okay? Kasi siya yung magne-negative 2. So we have x minus 4 and x plus 2. So ito yung factored form niya. Okay? So again, pag hindi kayo nakahanap ng factors ng c, ng ng constant term dito, factors niyan na magiging b, ibig sabihin hindi factorable yan. Okay? Irreducible yung other term niyan. Now, let's have another technique. General quadratic trinomials. So, factor of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Ito naman, yung format niya parang ganito rin. Kaya lang, may kasamang yung numerical coefficient ng x natin dito, hindi na siya 1. Okay? May kasama na siyang ibang value. Okay? May value na si a. Yung value ng a is hindi na 1. Paano ba yan? Example, 4x squared plus 5x minus 6. In this case, ang gagawin natin, first step muna, maghanap ng common factor. So, 4, 5, wala namang common factor. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, multiply natin yung coefficient ng first term at saka yung constant term. That would be 4 times 6. Okay? Negative 6. And so, that's negative 24. Okay, so dito tayo magsusulat kasi dito yung mamaya. Negative 24. And then, maghahanap tayo ng factors ng negative 24 na kung i-add or i-subtract, magiging positive 5. Okay, positive 5. So, we have, hahanapin natin yung 5x. Dito yan, ha? Dito yan. Ano ba yung factors ng negative 24 na posibleng maging 5? We have, 24 would be 4 and 6, pero magiging ano yan? It's either 10 or negative 2. Okay? What else? We have 8 and 3. Okay, 8 and 3. 8 times 3. Okay, so we have negative here. So, dapat isa sa dalawa ay negative. Pwedeng negative 8 or pwedeng positive 8 tapos negative 3. Alin kaya sa dalawa ang magbibigay ng positive 5? Okay? So, that would be this one. Alright? So, we have 8x minus 3x. It makes sense kasi 5x is equal to 8x minus 3x. Diba? 8 minus 3 is really 5. Okay? Therefore, we are going to rewrite this. Okay? Yung 5x, papalitan natin ng 8x minus 3x. So, that becomes 4x squared plus 5x minus 6. Kinopya lang natin yan. This becomes 4x squared. Then, instead of 5x, ilalagay natin ito. Yan. Plus 8x minus 3x. And then, we have minus 6. And so, mag-grouping tayo. Apply natin yung factoring by grouping. So, eto i-group natin itong dalawa. And i-group din natin itong dalawa. Bakit? Kasi they have a common factor. Meron din silang common factor. So, first, we have 4x squared plus 8x. One group yan. And then plus. Okay? Another group, negative 3x minus 6. Okay? And so, yung common factor nila, extract natin. Ang common factor ng 4x squared at ng 8x would be 4x. Okay? 4x. So, ang may iwan, i-divide natin ang 4x squared sa 4x. So, x na lang. And then, plus 8x divided by 4x is 2. Alright? And so, in this other group, ang common factor nila ay negative 3. Okay? Common nila negative 3. So, labas natin si negative 3. Wala yung positive, yung plus sign na dito kasi negative 3 yung common factor. So, positive, negative, magiging negative pa rin. And so, ang maiiwan, negative 3x divided by negative 3 would be x. Negative 6 divided by negative 3, that would be positive 2. Alright? And then, extract yung common factor. Take note, pareho silang x plus 2, parehong x plus 2. So, common factor yan, ilabas natin, x plus 2. And then, what remains, i-divide natin sa x plus 2 yan, magiging 4x na lang. 4x, and then ito din, divide sa x plus 2, magiging negative 3. Okay? And this is now the factored form. Or, pwede namang isulat, pwede namang 4x minus 3 times x plus 2. Pareho lang silang dalawa. Alright? Let's have another example. In this case, lagyan natin ng linya. Ayun, demarcation. Okay. In this case, we have 9x squared minus 24x plus 16. 9x squared minus 24x plus 16. We have here 9 and 16. Okay, 9 and 16. So, 9 times 16. That would be 144. Pwede naman gumamit ng calculator kung mahirapan. 9 times 16. And to really make sure that your answer is correct. Okay, so 144. And then, maghahanap tayo ng factor ng 144 na magiging negative 24 pag i-add or i-subtract. Okay? Pag in-add or sinubtract. And so, that is negative or, 12 times 12, di ba? 12 times 12. Negative yan, so ang isa negative. Okay? Negative 12. Okay, negative ito, so negative din yan. Positive kasi ito, so negative times negative is positive. So negative, so negative yung sagot. Okay? Negative 12 minus 12, that is negative 24. Okay. So we are going to rewrite this. That would be 9x to the power of 2 minus 24x plus 16. So this becomes, okay, 9x to the power of 2 or 9x squared. Instead of writing negative 24x, we write minus 12x. Okay, minus 12x plus 16. Right. Ma'am, bakit walang x dito? Pwede naman lagyan natin ng x, tapos lagyan natin ng x dito. Pwede. Either way is okay. And so, we have this one. I-group natin sila. So, this is our first group. And this is our second group. So, we have 9x squared minus 12x. Okay, plus negative 12x plus 16. Okay. And then, we factor out the common factor. So, we have ang common factor na 9x squared minus 12x. We have 3x. Okay? So, magiging 9 divided by 3 is 3. So, we have 3x. And then, negative 12x divided by 3x is negative 4. Ang common factor nila ay negative, common factor nila ay 3. Wait lang, 4. Okay, 4. But this time, para magiging negative yung nasa gitna, we can extract negative 4. Okay, negative 4 ang ilabas natin. Okay, para magiging positive ito. So, 12x divided by negative 12x divided by negative 4, that is positive 3x. Okay, 16 divided by negative 4 is negative 4. Bakit, ma'am? So, negative 4 times 3x, it's negative 12x. Pwede mo naman i-check, no? So, negative 4 times negative 4, that's positive 16. Para magkapareho silang dalawa. Okay? Kasi kapag positive ang nilabas mo, so hindi magkapareho ng sign. And then, you have 3x minus 4 times 3x minus 4. Oh, we actually have a perfect square trinomial. Or another way of factoring this 9x squared minus 24x plus 16 is considering it as a perfect square trinomial or yung tinatawag nating PST. Okay, perfect square trinomial. Bakit? Kasi, let's write it here, 9x squared minus 24x plus 16. Okay, 16. Yung 9x squared, it's a perfect square kasi square root of 9 is 3. Square root ng x squared is x. Okay, so this is a perfect square. So that's square root niyan ay 3x. Si 16 din ay perfect square. Ang square root dito ay 4. Okay. Now, pag minultiply mo yung dalawa, yung 3x times 4, 3x times 4, and then minultiply mo yan sa 2, it would be negative 24x, yung middle term. Okay, yung middle term. So, again, yung first term ay perfect square. Ang last term, constant term, ay perfect square din. And then, yung middle term, kung i-multiply mo yung square root ng first at saka ng third terms, tapos i-multiply mo sa 2, that would be the middle term. In that case, we can consider that as a perfect square trinomial or PST. Sige, so we have 3x times 4 is 12x times 2, that's 24x. Okay? And so, we can consider this as PST. Paano yan? So, lagay lang natin, okay? Lagay lang natin yung square root ng first term, that's 3x. Okay, 3x. Minus itong minus yung operation sa gitna, so minus. And then yung square root ng 16. Yung square root ng last term is 4. So that's 4 and then 4. So ito na yung factored form niya. 3x minus 4 times 3x minus 4. Or we can write this as 3x minus 4 squared. Okay? So, kagaya nito. Ayan. So, the same lang, ano? The same. Pero mas maiksi ito. Okay? This is a short way of factoring PST. Pero either way, okay naman kung alin dito mas comfortable ka. Or mas nasanay ka. Right? Kasi may iba kasi na like ako, hindi ko na tinitingnan kung o hindi ko minsan nakikita na PST pala ito. Okay? So I go directly, I use directly this process whenever there's value yung A dito, ano. Okay. Pero mas madali kapag na-recognize mo siya as PST. Okay? The last one we have factoring polynomials of degree greater than 2. Okay? We have here a cubic expression, cubic polynomial, wherein yung degree niya ay 3. Okay? Yung highest exponent ng variable ay 3. So, we have here 4 terms. Ang gagawin natin, we are going to make use of the rational root theorem and also with the factor theorem, ano, and synthetic division. Okay, alam niyo na yan. Alam niyo na yan kasi previous lesson natin yan. And so, make sure una-una, walang common factor. So, x cubed, okay, walang common factor. And then, make sure that the terms are arranged in descending order. So, 3, 2, 1, 0. Yung exponents ng variables. And so, we can use rational root theorem. Una-una, hanapin natin yung values ng P. So, unahin natin yung factors ng constant term. Factors ng constant term. So, we have positive negative 1, positive negative 2, positive negative 3, and positive negative 6. Yung factors ng 6. Okay? Factors ng 6. And then, yung Q natin, values ng Q, yung factors ng leading coefficient. Yung leading coefficient dito, yung kasama nung x na may highest degree, is 1. And so, factors ng 1 ay, of course, yung positive 1 at saka negative 1. Okay? And then, P over Q. Ibig sabihin, ito yung numerators, ito yung denominator. So, what is P over Q? 1 divided by 1 is 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. And so on. So, ibig sabihin, yung P over Q natin is just positive negative 1, positive negative 2, positive negative 3, and so on. Kaya, we have here positive negative 6. Sulat na lang natin. Positive negative 6. Ayan. And so, we make use of the rational root theorem para malaman natin yung first factor. Okay? First factor. Kasi pag meron na tayong nahanap na first factor, we can just use synthetic division to find the quotient, and then we make use of the previous factoring techniques that we have discussed. Okay? Paano ba yan? So, we are going to try these factors right here para mahanap yung first factor. Sige. So, let's try 2 siguro. Or you can try smaller numbers first. No, we can have you can try 1 and then negative 1, you can try 2 and then positive 2. Okay, depende kung saan ka comfortable. Okay. But this time, try ko yung positive 2. Okay, positive 2. So, sulat natin yung coefficients sila. Alam niyo na yung synthetic division. So, we have 1, negative 4, 1, and positive 6. Kung may kulang man sa terms, halimbawa may missing exponents dito, maglagay lang kayo ng 0. Okay? So, bring down 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Negative 4 plus 2, that's negative 2. Negative 2 times 2, it's negative 4. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Negative 3 times 2, that's negative 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. So, ito yung hinahanap natin. Dapat magzi-0 ito dito because this is the remainder. Okay? And sabi ng factor theorem, sabi niya, pag 0 ang remainder, ibig sabihin, ito siya, okay? Meaning, this is a 0 of the polynomial. So, when this is a 0 of the polynomial, meaning, x minus 2, yan ang equivalent niya, is a factor of this polynomial. Okay? So, meaning, this polynomial, if we let this as our p of x, then p of x, yung factor niya, unang-una, x minus 2. And the remaining factor would be the quotient. So, since x cubed yan, so itong quotient natin would be x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay? And so, ito yung first factor. What are the other factors? So, ito yung ngayon, yung ifa-factor natin. Using the factoring techniques that we have discussed previously. Okay? And so, with that, this is a general trinomial of the form x squared plus bx plus c, diba? So, maghahanap tayo ng factors ng negative 3. Factors ng negative 3 na kung i-add or subtract natin, magiging negative 2. So, ano pang factors ng 3? We have, kasi negative siya, so we can have negative 3 times 1, no? We can have 3 times negative 1. Okay? So, negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Negative 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, but 3 minus 1 is positive 2. So, therefore, we are looking for this. Okay? And so, meaning, that is x minus 2, kopyahin lang natin. And then, yung factors niyan, alright? So, x, and then x. Then, we have negative 3 and positive 1. So, negative 3 and positive 1. So, meaning, ito na yung factored form ng polynomial na ito. Okay?